Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot with Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology reading, which you can find on my other channel called Astrology Today with Mel Rose. The idea behind the Tarot portion is to provide some further insight into ongoing and current energies based on the day's astrology and Tarot influences. First, I'll discuss the Tarot card that sits on the left-hand side of the page. Then I'll do a quick review of the day's astrology before playing another card that may give us something more to think about. So let's get into it. The Tarot card that currently sits on the left-hand side of the page is the Ten of Swords, and it is there because it represents the third 10 days, or the third decan of the sun's transit through Gemini. So here we are in the third 10 days, the final third, the final part of the sun's transit through Gemini. And these sun and Gemini influences are becoming very strong at this time, especially because Mercury just went back into Gemini. So the thoughts and the words have particular power at this time. And the Ten of Swords, swords represent air, Gemini represents air. That's what the thoughts and words are about. And swords, really indicate how we use our thoughts and words, and remind us that our thoughts and words do have power. So we see in this situation somebody who's laying pretty dead looking on the ground. They've got 10 swords stuck out of their back. They didn't put them in there by themselves. It was probably a surprise attack, right? But there's also no real blood in this picture, so a reminder that this isn't, an actual physical battle that somebody has undergone. It's a battle of thoughts and words, okay? People have plotted against this person. People have planned against them. People have used their thoughts and words in a negative way against them. And the outcome is that, they're sort of dead in the eyes of the people they would normally surround themselves with, right? So that can be a pretty terrible feeling. And it can also be a bit of a relief. When you find out who you can't trust because they're using their thoughts and words against you, then you understand that you are at the end of something that has not been going very well for you, whether you realized it or not, because again, this is a kind of a surprise situation. But when you realize that you have been on the wrong path, hanging out with the wrong people, collaborating with people who do not have your best experience at heart, and who in fact are going to turn around and collaborate against you, you get to leave that whole group of people behind, and you get to say, okay, I'm going to start fresh. I'm going to have a new idea. I'm going to make new collaborations and allies, and I'm going to move forward again. So, end of a cycle here, pretty depressing card. It can be a pretty depressing state of mind to be in, if you've ever sort of been at the bottom of a pile in a battle of words online, or worse yet, among people that you know and love. You know how stressful that can be, and how deflating and depressing that can be. But the bright side is, we can take a little time to nurse our wounds, but we also have a fresh start straight ahead of us, an opportunity to do something different with our own thoughts and words, and different in the way that we seek out ways to collaborate with other people. And with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle some cards while I remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Gemini today, where we have a time of year where we are very interested in thoughts and ideas. We're having a lot of good ones. We are making plans for ourselves. We want to share all the information. We want to think creatively and sort of build on the best ideas that we hear. And right now, today, early this morning, well, middle of the morning, Mercury goes into Gemini. So this gives our words and our thoughts so much more power than they already had. This is pure inspiration coming in, and pure creativity being expressed by us. So, this is going to be a very powerful and exciting time. If you haven't got a grounding practice, I recommend you get one, and I described a good one in the other post on Astrology Today, but it basically involves putting your feet on the ground and taking some deep breaths, okay? So look up grounding practices if you don't know what I mean about grounding, and get one for yourself that is easy to do and easy to access wherever you happen to be, because this is a lot of being in our heads, and it's exciting, and it's very fun, and we feel playful, and we feel super inspired and creative. But you know, when we spend all of our time in our heads and we get out of our bodies, sometimes we make choices as though we don't have bodies and don't have certain needs, right? So you know, it's important to stay grounded so that we don't sort of wild out with the ideas, with the playful fun and idea making. Okay. On the moon side of the page, the moon is a waxing gibbous, nearly full. We are in the full of the moon today. In Sagittarius, moon will be full in Sagittarius tomorrow. So, you know, this is great. Sagittarius is an up and out kind of vibe. It is definitely adventurous. It seeks new learning. It wants to know universal truths, right? And it's also just a fire sign. It's dispersing fire. So it may really help us have the sort of spark and perhaps even impatience to go ahead and tie up whatever it is goals we were trying to culminate or partially culminate by the full moon, to go ahead and wrap it up, okay, so that we can get on to the next thing. And on the moon side, in the moon column, moon went trine to Jupiter early this morning, and it's going trine to Mars later this afternoon. Both beautiful, beautiful inner life vibes. One is really early in the morning, so I'm not entirely sure I would be awake, but it is a good time to spend with people that you like and that you care about, where you can share of yourself generously, be really open about yourself, and spend quality time with people. There's a blessing that can arise from that, and it's like the strengthening of bonds. And then moon trine Mars this afternoon. Just act on your best hopes and impulses, especially with the moon culminating today and tomorrow. You know, acting on your best hopes and impulses may help you wrap up those goals and make a little extra progress as well. Again, that trine functioning is practically a blessing from on high. So you know, whatever actions you make there, they're going to have really good outcomes for you. They're going to feel good, and you may notice some synchronicity. On the sun side of the page, we had Mercury make ingress to Gemini today, and like I said, our word has so much power at this time, and it's an exciting time. We want to make sure that, you know, although we spend a lot of time in our heads thinking about all of our best ideas and communicating with other people about our good ideas so that we can, you know, make them manifest in the world, we have to remember to take some time to get into the body, you know, have a grounding practice or something like that. And then Venus conjunct Uranus is ongoing through today. I thought it was yesterday, but there you go. Irregular attractions. Okay, so there's a shakeup in the way we are drawn to things, and we may find ourselves either attracted to a person or a purchase that would be out of the ordinary for us. Connections made under this influence may not last very long, so don't make any big commitments financially or with your heart, okay? At least until we've got this out of the way. Mercury trine Pluto, decolonizing the inner landscape, friends. This is what I see us working on. Okay, we've got this beautiful insight into where our fears and insecurities come from. Pluto is retrograde, so that's really the transformation is happening on the inside. Saturn is also retrograde, saying, you know, we have to take a look at what we think is foundational to us in our gut, in our heart, and sort of re-express that, revise it, make it work better for us. Okay, so think about the ways in which we seek to colonize ourselves and other people, right? By making rules about how they can act and where they can go, where they might get medical care, where they're allowed to live, that kind of thing. Making rules for our loved ones that basically make our love and our affection for them conditional on certain ways of being, and colonizing ourselves also, you know, just by buying into traditions that don't really ring true for us. They don't reflect our experience, and they often come with some sort of like punitive punitive result if we fail, right? So the colonizer is in there, okay? We live in a colonial state. Almost everybody does at this point. So here we are trying to live out these these dreams that these people had, that that enslaved people and stole people's land, and here we are still trying to live out their dream. And how else could we be living out their dream if we were not also living out their values, right? So we really need to get a close look at that system of values that is unfortunately but really and truly foundational to who we are as a culture and who we are as individuals. And with all of that said, going to turn this over. 7 of Rods. Okay, so this is great. This is great. First of all, taking action on your best hopes and impulses, right? 7 of Rods to me represents either having, finding yourself in a good defensible position. Like it looks like this person is sort of battling. This person has a wand. There are other wands sort of coming up below them. They have sort of a worried look on their face, right? So it's a little bit of a struggle implicated to me, but it's also having the higher ground. And that also says to me, that you've acted on your best hope and impulse at this time, right? And what that's done is it's put you in an advantageous position. Also, decolonizing the inner landscape here. I mean, it occurs to me that when we start seeking to decolonize ourselves and decolonize the people that we have around us, we start to look for that quality in other people. Culture is going to fight back. When you go against culture at large is going to fight back in big and little ways that are automatic and that are not even necessarily intended, but that's just the nature of the beast at this point. And so, we have to get ourselves into a good frame of mind, okay? We have to know why it is that we feel the way we do. We have to be passionate about it, and we have to maintain a higher ground. And maintaining a higher ground doesn't necessarily always just mean using force, okay? Maintaining a higher ground, having a good defense, right? So that you can ensure your own safety, and also, also having a certain amount of compassion and understanding for those that are going against you, either consciously or unconsciously, when they see you trying to buck the system, right? So we're not trying to beat anybody else down. We're just trying to rise above at this time. And the 7 of Rods taken together with the 10 of Swords really looks like a good sign for me, right? Because this says, these people came at me with their swords. They tried to lay me out flat. Maybe for a moment I did feel like I was laid out flat, right? But that's the end of the cycle. And what's going to happen when I get up is that I'm going to have a better understanding, and I'm going to know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm going to know why I'm not friends with those people anymore, right? And again, that gives me a higher ground, okay? That gives me an opportunity to show compassion for those people, but also to show compassion for myself by maintaining a space around myself that is secure and defensible. I believe that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate your presence here. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.